turtle. Was his name? Herman. Oh, I thought it was Yertle.
And a rabbit.
You had a rabbit.
Yes.
Rosalind?
I never had one.
No? Did you want one?
I'm afraid of animals.
Okay, that's valid, very valid. How about some other animals?
I had a squirrel in college.
You had a squirrel. A squirrel and a monkey are like my two favorites.
I had cows.
You had cows, where they pat like they would let you.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh. Well, I've had a gerbil, I've had a guinea pig, I've had a bunny, I've had dogs, I've had birds. I grew up that animal kind of a family. And when I got older, I realized animals run around in groups. You've noticed that, right? Animals run around in groups. So a couple questions. What's a name for, and I wrote some of them down because they're so unique. What's the name of a group of giraffes?
Herd?
A what?
A herd?
Herd? That seems logical. No, it's called a tower. Isn't that cool? What's the name for a group of alligators?
Scary.
Scary, yeah, scary.
Luggage.
What is it?
Luggage.
Luggage! Belts. Yeah, belts. No, it's called a congregation. What's the name for a group of grasshoppers? And this was a great image for me.
Jump.
A jump, that's a good one. They're called a cloud. When you put them in a big group like that, one of my all-time faves is, and this is very specific, what is the name of a group of pheasants as they take off?
Exaltation. That's larks.
What is it?
Exaltation.
Exaltation is larks. A group of pheasants as they take off are called a bouquet. Isn't that awesome? So we tend to travel around in groups, herds, packs, right? Gina?
I just want to add one to your list.
Yes.
A group of monkeys.
A group of monkeys is called a?
Congress.
A congress. Yes. And what's a group of crows called?
A murder.
A murder. Absolutely. A group of crows is called a murder. Isn't that make you feel and think certain ways? Like, don't you feel a certain way about a tower? Don't you see what that is? That's a group of these really tall animals. We're a pack. We're a herd. We're a group. Right? Sometimes you don't feel that way because you tend to go back into your world. But we're a group. We're a social group that's moving together in support of what? Toastmasters are members. So we're a herd and we're a group. And what do you do when you're a group? Why does the group stick together? Camaraderie, safety, right? When you're a zebra, you don't want to be that poor zebra that's hanging out over here when the group is over here, right? You want to stay with your group. Well, we're a group, and we need to really identify with being a group. We have how many more months till this Toastmaster year ends? Not that Keith is counting. 4.5, he just said. Have you ever felt, and I know this could be a stretch, but have you ever felt in your life any form of conflict? Get out of town. Family conflict? Conflict with kids? I have a 94-year-old dad. Oh my gosh. Right? Anybody ever have work conflict?
Oh, never.
Angela's like, no. Right? Work conflict, it can chew you up. How we deal with conflict as people, as employees, as citizens, and as district leaders is huge. How you choose to deal with your personal conflicts, whether you think people see it or not, they know, right? So today we're going to look at the animal kingdom. If you look around the room, I've just randomly selected some animals. We're going to start over here. Skunk, snake, the lamb. I've always wanted one, didn't have one. An ostrich, a bee, a dove. We have a lion. We have a porcupine. We have a snail. And then right here in front, we have a gorilla. Right down here. Imagine yourself in conflict with a peer, with your teenage kids, with a dog that isn't behaving. Do you call up an image of how you feel when you're in conflict? Do you have like a feeling for that? What do you feel like when you're in conflict? Here's what we're going to do today. Identify what you feel like internally when you have conflict, work conflict, whatever it is, and I want you to think, what's my style when I'm in conflict? What am I like? Am I like a snail? A lion? Am I like a porcupine? Am I like a skunk? Am I like a lamb or an ostrich? How do you feel when you have conflict in your life? To Dick's point, when you're going to visit a club and you're maybe a little anxious and you go to that smaller club, and to Dick's point, you're being their cheerleader, but they might have a different opinion of why you're coming. They might view that as conflict. How might they see that? I'm not saying it's true or not. If there's no animal up here that represents your style, I'm creating this group called Other, and it's going to be right here. So let's say you say, well, I'm sort of half of a lion and half of a hyena because I laugh a lot. then you're going to come here. So what do you feel like when you're in conflict? What animal represents your style when you're feeling that way? And if you could all get up and carefully walk to that animal. I liked the faces as you all analyze. How do you feel? And that's a valid question. What if you don't want to be that animal? Let's start with what you think you might feel like first, and then we can move to the other things. That's, yes? Okay. Here was a very interesting question I just had. Guys, here was a very interesting question. I feel different about conflict in different domains of my life. Yes. Right? Do I feel the same when I'm arguing with a work colleague as when I'm trying to talk to my teenage son? No. So in your mind, pick something that resonates with you.
Okay.
Pick something. There is no one size fits all. And either Jason likes standing by me or he thinks he's a gorilla. All right. So now there's not some delineation. So what I'm going to do. Okay, gorilla. We got gorillas in the nest over here. All right. If you could all look around your group. So where does dove and bee start?
Just us three for the group.
Okay, so cluster with your group, cluster with your herd, because there's a lot of bleed over it.
That's the other.
This is other. If nothing fits you, yes, other. All right. So we have no skunks. Did you notice that?
We have no what?
We have no skunks. What does a skunk do when it feels threatened? And why does it spray?
Scared.
Because it's scared. But doesn't it look aggressive when it's doing that? But it's scared, right? Well, we have no sprayers in our group. Let's go around the room. In conflict, Rhonda, you identify yourself as a lamb. What happens for you?
I become gentle, but I can get kind of bitchy sometimes.
Bitchy,
That's a
lamb?
fascinating combination.
Write
So,
that down.
so conflict, let's pick, is it like maybe a work conflict?
Yes.
Okay, so in work, if something feels conflicting to you, you said to get gentle or quiet
Yes.
and bitchy.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. How might someone look at that is just looking at you from the outside? Oh. How might someone look, Gail? How might someone look in the workplace if they suddenly got real quiet and gentle and maybe a little passive aggressive? How would that look to you as an outsider? What would you feel like?
I guess I would question where they're coming from.
So there'd be a lack of clarity about what
Yeah.
happened. Did I
Because
offend you?
because I
or-
know she's not that kind of a person, and yet she withdraws and becomes reserved, and that I would question that probably.
So it might leave you confused.
Yes.
It might not let you openly discuss what the matter
Right.
is. Okay, interesting. Let's go over here. Do we have a snail over there?
3 of us.
We have 3 snails. So what do you describe as snail conflict?
Well, for me, I've recognized when it comes with age is the conflict's going to be there tomorrow. Why jump? Why be that aggressive person when you can take that time and reflect and then address it tomorrow?
Oh, what do you guys think of that? Is there a downside to being a snail in conflict? Deb Martin is saying yes. Why is there a downside potentially to you?
Because sometimes you do need to act quickly, or you can't. There is a time constraint, and if you miss that window of opportunity, then it may blow up, or you know. I could see it being good sometimes, but sometimes it'll work against you because if there's a time limit.
And this is coming from an ostrich?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
I'm
No, the beauty of this is there's no goodness or badness. There's no goodness or badness.
She's not going
So
anywhere.
where does
She's going
ostrich
slow.
begin and
I
end?
think that's what I said.
Okay, you're a bee?
I'm a bee.
Okay. So, ostrich, Rosalind, when you feel conflict, what does ostrich mean to you?
I think speaking the mind, that's what I feel.
That an ostrich
Yes.
would speak their mind?
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Okay.
Because whenever it needs something, as an animal will quickly go, get it, grab it, get things done, that kind of.
Okay. So, Ed and Deb, what are your thoughts on if I'm like, so Ed, I got a problem with you, and you go to ostrich, what does that mean to you guys?
For me, it was I guess the exact opposite of Rosalind is I want to avoid it if I can, so I was thinking ostrich and burying the head in the sand.
exactly the same.
So we have conflict within the
Well, we're gonna ignore that.
Yeah, we're gonna be snails, right? So, but what's interesting is Rosalind saw that bird doing things, right? Doing things, getting things done, doing things. So, isn't that fascinating that within a subgroup, we have could it be confusing that you react as what you think an ostrich is, but I'm like, what? That's not how an ostrich is to me, right? Who's got something interesting they want to share about their group? Yes,
So we belong to DAO.
you're the dove. These are the peace seekers.
So a couple of months last year, actually, I took a test. It's called DOPE test. It's a guy named called Richard. I don't know the last name, but it's Richard something. So it's a test of personality. So D for dog, O for owl, P for peacock, and E for eagle. So this all type of personalities and how you want to know to talk to other kind of bird that we can adapt to the personality. So I did my test. I belong to dog. So dog, the strengths are like people-oriented, friendly, hardworking. Some strengths, and the weaknesses are they don't take risks much. They try to avoid confrontation, and less risks and all that. So.
So where does dove end? Tom, are you in dove? Okay, and Deb, are you in dove?
I'm in the line, I'm the
She's a lion, okay? So
My
the
kids will
dove
tell you
group,
before.
do you feel that represents what you think of when you have conflict in your life and you're feeling conflict, and what a dove means to you?
Yeah, we feel like peacekeepers, or I do, like I try to find common ground. If there is conflict, I try to find common ground first
Okay.
and try to ease and, have a common goal so that it lessens the conflict.
Is that your job?
It's not my job, but it does arise
Okay.
at work.
Interesting. And are you received well when you go in and are that peacekeeper all the time?
I would say most of the time.
Okay.
I can focus on not each other, but what the goal is.
But how do the people feel? Not how do you feel?
Right.
So are you like the broker, kind of?
Yeah.
In that role of broker, Tom?
People who are in conflict mode aren't listening. So as a dove, I like to get them to calm down, be quiet, be peaceful, and let's listen.
So gorillas, when doves say, come down everyone, don't get all agitated. You're upset, don't be upset, this is nothing, you shouldn't be upset, this isn't important. What do you think is gorillas in the mist? Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. Talk to me about when conflict arises in your life, what does it feel like to be this big old mountain gorilla.
Well, there's a problem with being a gorilla, is there's usually a bigger gorilla somewhere. So just because I'm here doesn't mean I want to be here.
No, and that's the beauty. This is just more self-awareness. There's not a right or a wrong. Jason?
For me, the identifying thing for the gorilla is I internalize conflict and I'll brood on it.
Yeah,
That
he looks
furrow
real.
brow on my face, and then all of a sudden I may have to lash out.
Have you guys ever worked with people that are just going along and all of a sudden, "Gah!" they come at you and you're like, what the heck happened? What are you doing? Why? Because they've been cooking on it for a week, a year, 5 days, and you're like, and all of a sudden, bam, they hit you. And trust me, doves, when you come and say, oh, come on, guys, totally, let's get along,
Probably
which
gonna
is your
eat you.
sweet spot, wham, right? Who else had, yes, Megan.
So I decided-
Megan is an other.
I came into the other because I realized how I respond to conflict varies on how I'm feeling at the moment on the day. So there's some days that I'll wake up and be in a pretty good mood, happy with life, and I can deal with conflict that comes, just take
So you
care of
could
it,
be
move
a
on with your
dove
life.
or a-
And
yeah.
other days I wake up and it's like, nobody talk to me, I cannot handle the world, and I'll be a mix between a lion and a gorilla.
Yep, that.
So it just depends on how I'm feeling in that day for how I'm gonna respond.
Okay.
So,
Anybody?
I'm
Yes.
gonna defend the lion position.
Lions and gorillas are oddly similar.
But I think they do can get a bad rap. I put myself here because in conflict, there you have lambs, you have, a lion I think is a
King of the jungle.
kind of, but it doesn't have to be always that you're in a right position or that you're the one who's dominating or anything like that. It might be that just you're able to lead the pack, in other words, you know, in terms of, and it always seems to fall. So in my life, if you start presenting yourself and you speak up, you oftentimes get handed the role of you're the one, we can't handle this, you're the one who needs to handle it.
Yeah, do it. You're going to do it anyway.
You're gonna
so,
do it anyway,
Yeah,
so-
just go and do it.
And I think too, it's a catch-22, because when I'm passionate about something, then I do take a defensive, I will take and I'll stand up for the herd or for the pack, let it be my family, let it be a family member, let it be one of my clubs, whatever. I'm passionate about it and I'll defend them and protect, and when I take that, it can come off as aggressive. It can come off as being too strong. So it's tough being a lion, but.
So there's no right and there's no wrong. So we're getting tight on time. Anyone, Angela wants to talk about being a snake, the only one in the room, or Gail.
No, Gail's with
Co-
a snake too.
Co-snakes.
But we actually, when she came over, and what she said, the reason she came over here is completely different from mine. But mine, I'm kind of what you were just saying, that I'm a very passionate person, so I can go along, everything's going good, you know, and if somebody does something to set me off, I strike. But then I know I gotta get out of there, because if I don't, I might become that, you know, gorilla and punch you, or that lion and eat you alive. So that's what I basically, that's why I did with a snake, is because I will strike, I will chew you out, and then I walk off and I'm done with it.
But they might not be done.
They may not be done, but I'm done, and I don't want you to come over and go, well, you know, and I'm like, no, I'm done, leave me
Well,
alone.
they are not done.
They are not.
Can you understand how when you go with your natural mode, whatever it is, and you're like, well, I just yelled at her, now I feel great. then
And I'm
then
going
you're
off
leaving, I always say, look behind you, because if you're leaving bodies behind you, you're probably doing something incorrect. Right? If you're leaving a trail of bodies, and they don't want to talk to you, and they don't want to ever look at you, and they get emails, and they don't want to respond to them, you might want to look in the mirror and reflect a smidgen, right? Gail, you're a snake, but you're a different kind. You see it differently.
I've dealt with conflicts many times, and sometimes to get a solution, one has to crawl on your belly like a snake.
Oh.
Humbly say, all right, have it your way, and then I forget about it. You know, it's I've crawled on my belly, I'm dirty, I'm ugly, but I don't care. It's resolved, and we're moving on.
For the sake of the group.
That's right.
But isn't that interesting that within a subspecies, we have two different beasts? Now, I'm going to step up here since you're all down here. So what I wanted to do today was simply give you the opportunity to see yourselves differently. And by that I mean, I've had conversations with people here, with people outside of work, oh, that's just how I am. Have any of you ever used that? What I like to call excuse? That's just how I am. We are not prescribed, prescriptive beings that cannot adapt and change. You might want to be the snake naturally, you might want to be the gorilla, the dove, we have a porcupines? So you're prickly people? Oh, there's yeah. No, not prickly. What makes you porcupiney?
So because I automatically get defensive in conflict, and then I want to hide.
So you could be a skunk. You could be like a
but I don't spray anything, I just get defensive.
Okay.
So I have put my guard up, and then I kind of want to hide a little.
I'd like to make a suggestion. You don't have to put your guard up. You can, but you don't have to, right? That's the beauty of looking at yourself as a growing, living being. You might want to because it's very natural, but are there times you don't want to? Gina, you're a porcupine.
I chose this not because I think I identify with it regularly, right? But I was thinking of conflict that's gone poorly, right? And when I think of those situations when they've gone in the direction I didn't want them to go, it was because I was more focused on protecting myself than finding a resolution.
You were not willing to slither on your belly for a little bit.
Right. So I'm thinking of conflicts that have been bad in my life.
Tell me about good conflict. How many of you believe in the concept of good conflict? How many of you do not believe in the concept of good conflict? How many of you are liars? Good, good. So not everyone views conflict as something they enjoy, like to do, want to do, or is productive. So tell me about the difference between good conflict and bad in your view.
Right. So it really depends on the environment and the people involved, right? So if I feel like it is a threatening situation, right, I'm going to go this way. But if I can keep an open mind and force myself to say, this person has the same intention I have. It is good, it is positive, we want to find a resolution, and if I truly feel that way, I would not be in this category.
Okay.
Does that make
Shay?
sense?
Well, one thing with the porcupine and kind of along those lines is the porcupine of all the ones that go from 0 to angry, porcupines give the most warning and the most opportunity to back down. Because they start off kind of calm, docile. I don't know if you've ever seen them at the zoo, kind of getting fed and just, they look cute and cuddly. You start poking them a little bit, they fluff a little bit, poke them more, they fluff more, until you poke too many times and then they explode. But unlike the skunk, it's at least a short-term pain instead of that long-term. And then they defluff, they quickly defluff, and they go about their business.
Excellent. So have you learned something about perspective, how you see the world, Deb?
Well, the other thing is, I think there's a danger of groupthink. So it bothers me a lot if I'm in a group where everybody's in agreement, because I'm afraid that we're not getting the whole perspective. So if there's some conflict, or some other views, we're going to end up with a better result. So to embrace it at some level is really healthy for an organization, as long as it's out there and not hidden.
Yeah, but it could just be differing opinions.
Yeah.
It does not have to be always viewed as conflict.
Yeah.
I think this way, you think this way. That creates what I call the second right answer. How many of you write, this is the right answer, and then after you talk and you get other ideas, you're like, well, wait a minute. If I take a little of this and a little of that, we get what I call the second right answer. You didn't see it at first, but it's out there. Somebody have
I just was curious in what animal you identify with.
If I had to pick one here, conflict, I don't like it for the sake of it, but I think that if I had to do it, I would fall in porcupine. Skunk's a little too much for me. They're cute, but they're, yes.
So one thing that I tie this to is that I'm involved with this similar activity through my work. And one big takeaway that we talk about is it's really good to know where you are, but it's really also good to learn where everybody else is, because in conflict, it's about being able to react, or if we can learn how to deal with conflict on the person, on your term. I need to learn how you react to conflict, so that even though I'm a lion, the lion goes to sleep, and I've got to reach out and deal with that conflict
Correct.
based on that other kind of style or other way.
Correct.
And that, I think, is a harder thing to learn. But as servants, even as in our director model of roles and working with club members and other officers, sometimes we're all meshed and there's going to be conflict. So the challenge is to learn, how do we best learn from each other and meet each other where you're at and lay ourselves aside, because it's going to be there.
And the phrase I use a lot, and I want to be respectful of time, the phrase I use a lot is, all you ever get to see is yourself. All you ever get to see is yourself. Does that make sense? Not sense? Some people say that makes no sense to me. So if I'm saying to Robert, God, Robert, I can't believe you wrote the report like that. I felt it was really poor quality work. I really don't think you put enough into this. Do you feel like $1 million?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? But in that relationship we just had, how he does his work and how that report looks are very different from how I reacted to what I felt. So all you ever get to see is yourself. So I can't really judge his report, but I can certainly judge my perspective on how I responded to it. So all you ever get to see is yourself. So when you're the lion and you're going after somebody, have the self-awareness and presence to go, hey, I'm doing it. And then either choose, I'm going to keep doing it, or I'm going to stop myself. Or if you're and I'm going to say it's the more typical ostrich, the head in the sand ostrich, if you choose to keep doing that, everything comes at a cost, right? All of our behaviors come at a cost. So if you choose to go, I don't want to look at that, does that really go away? No.
Depends on what it is.
No. What?
Depends on what it is.
It never, I guess I would disagree that I don't think it ever goes away, but you can leave it, but it's probably still sitting there, right? Lurking in your closet somewhere, right? Somewhere in a box that you forgot about. So as you look at visiting your clubs, as you look at connecting with the people that are in your clubs, realize you're going to have lambs and ostriches and bees and doves and porcupines and skunks. You have to go in knowing what your filter is, and you have to be respectful of what other people's filters are. And you just need to have that presence and awareness of embracing the pack, embracing the herd. We're all going the same way now. We're all going to complete this year solidly, knowing who we are and delivering that quality experience. So I hope you embrace the pack, and thank you for all that you've done.